Stranger danger is real, guys.
That's the theme of the movie.
Yeah.
Stranger danger, and also advocate for yourself. If somebody's forcing meat down your throat, pause. But you're a vegetarian, tell them that you're a vegetarian. Don't let them gaslight you.
Yes, that's the thing. I don't know. They should have just called it gaslight.
Gaslight.
I don't know, the gaslightening or something like that.
I just sat there thinking, like, damn, Ben, you let a whole man just put his meat in your wife's mouth. Like, that's insane.
Oh gosh, that just went like.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Most Potato Podcast. My name is Alvin.
And I'm Jess.
And today we're going to be talking about Speak No Evil. In this movie, an American couple and their daughter spend the weekend at a British family's idyllic country home. The visit quickly goes from slightly uncomfortable misunderstandings to life or death situations.
I was excited to see this because of James McAvoy, and I know he's like really good. And I was just like, this looks... I feel like I'm going to be upset. I'm curious, and that's why I wanted to go see this.
Yeah. Ever since I first saw James McAvoy in that god-awful Wanted movie, I mean, it's not...
Oh, I watched.
It's not dog shit, but it could have been so much better.
I don't even remember what it's about.
Something about curving bullets. That's all I know.
Yeah. Right?
Ever since I saw him in that, I was like, damn, I really like this guy. And for some reason, I confused him with Jimmy Fallon when I first saw him.
What?
I don't know, but he's made it a very interesting career, like, since that movie. Like, from that to X-Men to Split, when he first showed up in that, I was like, this dude knows how to dive into any type of character. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for this movie, I feel like I wasn't that interested in the premise until there was James McAvoy in the movie. I'm like, I just want to see him go nuts. Mm-hmm. So... But the premise is fairly interesting. It's a relative sort of thing where you're just like, you know what it's like to be uncomfortable with a group of people where they either unintentionally or intentionally push your buttons and try to cross your boundaries and they try to see how far they can get away with that. And then this movie is also an American remake or adaptation of the same name of the movie that came out in 2022.
Not long ago.
Yeah, literally like just 2 years ago. We actually watched the 2022 version before watching this movie. And I was surprised to see how much of the characters speak English. Mm-hmm. Like, it just feels like almost an American production. Like, all the characters are European, but they communicate in English because they don't know each other's native languages. And I thought that was really fascinating. I feel like you could have just released that through like a Hollywood studio, and then that would probably do okay in theaters.
Probably wouldn't have. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, it's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically the exact same premise. They just changed the ending for the American one.
Yeah. Different nationalities and different endings. Yeah, the third act is where it really like completely changes for both movies. The American completely flips it on its head, which we'll get to in great detail soon. So I just wanted to ask you, what was your impression of this movie when we got out the theaters? How'd you feel about this one?
I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the original for different reasons, and then I left this one feeling like this was also good too. This was also well done. I appreciate it. Like, they were both very frustrating. Stressful movies and just very annoying in their own way, and I like that the American one actually changed the ending. I was basically comparing them for how they were going to execute the ending, because you mentioned before we went in to see the 24 one, this one, that they changed the ending, and I was just like, so what did they do with the ending that could be different? So like when we got to the point where I was like, all right, this is where they're taking a turn, I'm like taking my notes and comparing, and I'm just like, okay, so they're doing this instead, and then we're gonna do that, and these motherfuckers still piss me off. Like, it was good. I walked out of here still happy with both, and I can't say I like one better than the other, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
That's fair.
What about you?
I had a good time at this movie, especially during the third act. And it's not... If I were to pick like a preference of how I liked the endings playing out with each movie, I preferred the original movie. It's very bleak and kind of unexpected. And it also was just like, this made sense for these characters. Based on the decisions that they made, it made sense why things led to that road for those characters in the Danish version. Mm-hmm. But I did have a really good time with this American version. I do feel like it took the spirit of the original one and just adapted it to what audiences here are kind of used to. Mm-hmm. Some things I didn't like, but for the most part, I liked everything. The third act was probably the most entertaining part, mainly just because of the audience reactions.
Oh, yeah, we had a good audience.
Yeah, everyone was quiet because they were paying attention to what was going on. And I don't think any of us were ready for the third act, where things really just went off the rails and just people were like laughing and they were being like, come on, man, why are you doing this? Like, we're all just like yelling at the main characters for all the decisions that they make, trying to survive this horrific attack from their friends / not friends really. Yeah.
Stranger danger is real, guys.
That's the theme of the movie. Stranger danger, and also fucking advocate for yourself. If somebody's forcing meat down your throat, pause. But you're a vegetarian, tell them that you're vegetarian. Don't let them gaslight you.
Yes, that's the thing. This movie, I don't know, they should have just called it Gaslight.
Gaslight.
Like I don't know, the gaslighting or something like that.
I think the original Danish did way more gaslighting.
Yeah, they did. I don't know.
I was like, wow.
I don't know if it's because like this is American version and like I don't know, the couple was American.
Yes, they're an American couple.
So I don't know if it's just because they're American. They were a little bit less like.
They were more polite and more enduring of the awkwardness and.
But they also spoke up more than the Danish couple.
Well, the Louise character did, the wife.
Yeah,
the husband was fucking useless. The husband
in both movies is a bitch. Yeah. That's just.
He's even more of a bitch in the American version. But they're both bitches. Yeah. They're both bitch made. Yes. Oh, okay. That was the most frustrating thing to watch, but it was intentional. That character was intentionally useless.
Yes. Up until the very end.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was a very fun time. I'm glad we went to this movie, and like you, I liked them both adaptations the same. I probably would rank the Danish one a little bit more, just because I appreciated more of like the quiet and stoic cinematography and the acting, and the ending I liked a little bit more compared to this one, even though this ending is way more fun and entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a good time for sure. Like I'm glad we did check this out in the theaters because it helped with having a fun audience. Like
I picked this one.
Did you?
Yes.
This wasn't a joint decision?
Nope. I remember I sent you the trailer. I watched it and I was like, huh.
Oh, you did send me that.
Yeah, you see.
Yeah. But I was instantly on board. I was like, this is going to be a fun one, I think.
All I did was raise my hand and say, I picked this one. Mm-hmm. That's all the acknowledgement that I need.
Yes, you picked a good one.
Yes.
So both of the movies, the original one and this one, both deal with two couples coming together during a vacation in Italy. And they hit it off. They become friends. But even during their hangouts, like in the beginning, there's already passive aggressiveness coming from the British couple in this movie.
Yeah.
And I was really kind of balancing how I felt about the initial meetup. I feel like the original movie did a better job of the bonding friendship, at least between the two husbands. Mm-hmm. There was more of like a weird fascination from the Danish husband to the antagonist husband. And then here they kind of hinted at that, but it was also really just like James McAvoy just looked like the really cool guy.
Yeah.
And so the Ben character, who's the American husband, he's kind of up his ass, but he's also just like this very meek, complainy, bitter person, like right off the bat. And he's kind of weird too, because he at one point during the beginning in Italy, he peeps through James McAvoy's window and like at the lodge that they're staying at, because they share like this building. It's like this big hotel.
I mean,
basically.
The window was right on stairs where people go up and down, and it was wide open. But he stopped and was just like,
he was gawking at it. He's just like
his wife
he's over
had
here
to pull it
dancing
away.
with his wife, and then just like, what are you doing?
It's so weird.
I'm like, who's the villain here? Is it James McAvoy or this creepy like peeping Tom right now?
Yeah.
So I was kind of having a hard time buying into the friendship, because I felt like there was a lot more passive aggressiveness already going on from James McAvoy's character. Mm-hmm. But I was like, you know what? Let me go with it, because I feel like I have reference to the original movie, and it's kind of filling in some of the blanks that I felt like was there in this movie.
I didn't buy into it too much now that I think about it. No,
I think the Danish one did it better.
Yeah, I felt like for the Danish couple, the husband, he was like Bjorn, he was lacking just something. Like that was
Yeah.
like his thing, is that he was lacking something in
He was
life.
lacking, like passion, motivation, identity.
And he sees that from, this couple and the husband.
Yeah.
And he quickly latches onto it to the point where he can't stop thinking about this guy.
Yeah.
And his name's Patrick too in that one, right?
Yeah, Patrick in the original, and then Patty in this
I'm
new
assuming
version.
it's short for but
Yeah.
So it's weird because Bjorn, he's like lacking something, and he sees someone who he wish he was.
Yes.
That's the type of thing that Patrick gives off in the 2022 one.
Yeah.
So that made it more believable because he
Yes.
became like obsessed almost with this guy and like how he lives, and he like wants that. So he was willing to go along with whatever this guy says at that point.
Because he's the cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one, like you said,
There was like some holes there was like something missing in their relationship.
I don't know what it was, but for some reason it just felt like
the American couples just felt pressured to do what James McAvoy was telling them to do. It's like, oh, let Agnes ride the scooter with me, and all this other stuff. It's like they just felt like they were cornered and pressured to say yes to things and not actually interested and intrigued.
Yeah, and I feel like Ben is like bored almost with his life, or
he's like miserable and he's bitter, and they tease that there's turmoil with the relationship, with their marriage.
Yeah.
We see that there's a hint that Louise the wife had previously cheated on Ben with something. We don't
something. It was a teacher. I think it was Agnes's teacher. Something. Yeah. No, I felt like he was just looking for some distraction, escape, some spark. So there, like I said, I didn't feel like a friendship between him and Patty like that. So I think he was just like, he thought he was just using this couple as an excuse to like get away, do something different. And Louise feeling guilty was like, she didn't want to, and I was just like, her American showing, like she's just like like what's going on, but he's being all pissy about it, and it looks like she's sacrificed a lot.
Yes.
For him, for the relationship, and probably out of guilt as well, too.
Yeah.
So she was like, all right, let's do this,
go.
even though everything's screaming at me not to,
Yes. Yeah. She's actually got a lot of sense, and that keeps coming into play throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we do get the setup of this couple, this American couple. They're not very happy with each other, and I kind of wish that they made the couple likable or like more sympathetic. I have a hard time getting behind couple characters if they're not like charismatic enough. I think that's just me, but I think with stories revolving around romance, like I have a hard time caring about the relationship, because in this movie I just cared about how are they going to get out of these awful situations that they're going to get through later. I just wish that they set up the relationship to be something that I could sympathize or care about, but I was just like, I don't care if you guys are on the verge of getting divorced. Like, just go on this trip and thrill me.
Yeah, not once did I was like, whatever.
Yeah. And I think it was so funny how like they just said yes to like the invitation to hang out with the British couple, when I don't think they've once ever called each other since their trip back from Italy. Like, they don't get to know each other. You just get a postcard and you're just like, okay, let's hang out with these people that, they were cool to us in Italy, but we don't know what the hell they could be in their own home.
This is not real Americans.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, the Hispanic in me is just screaming, like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, no, this is not what we do here. Do you want to live?
Yeah. I mean, Agnes going on the scooter with Patty. Agnes complaining about her little bunny.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God. I will say, the daughter character gets a little more fleshed out here in this movie, I think. I do appreciate that they took the time to build, like, her anxiety, with the separation anxiety from her toy animal, because they did a fine job in the original movie too, but I think the added layer of like, oh, she has like actual anxiety if she's separated from the doll.
Yeah, because I feel like in the 22 one, she was pretty much a background character.
Yeah.
Very like little to no lines, like wasn't really there. It didn't really focus on her, even though, eventually her character does come into play where like she is also like going to become a victim and like at risk for this couple's craziness. We'll just call it that for now.
Yeah.
So I do like the Agnes in the 24 one just because
Yeah.
there was a lot more to her.
She felt like a fully rounded person.
And they used her. Like,
she's actually active. Yeah.
I mean, she's annoying as fuck, but like she was...
She's supposed to be.
Yeah.
In both movies.
I'm like, damn, you almost 12 and you talking about Hopper this and we got to turn the car around. And yeah.
Yeah. So then, and so when they make the trip over there, like almost immediately when they meet with the British couple, they're instantly already just bombarded with like passive aggressiveness, like starting with Louise being offered fucking pork roast when she mentioned during like the vacation that, oh, I'm a vegetarian. And she back then she already got challenged on that too.
Oh yeah, he was just like, oh,
but don't you eat fish? That's a meat, right?
Yeah.
So aren't you pescatarian?
That was later in the movie, wasn't it?
It was brought up. It was challenged in the beginning, but very lightly.
But he didn't bring up the pescatarian thing at the beginning. He was just
didn't.
Like, oh, is it for health reason and environmental?
Is it personal?
Is it yeah? And then she was like kind of tripped up. She was probably just expecting them to just leave it at I'm a vegetarian.
Yeah.
But but he pushed on it.
Yeah.
And then like later on in the film when it came up again, I was just like, damn.
It's like you just straight up roasting her for being vegetarian.
Yeah, it was really so many times I wanted to just cuss these people out, and it's just like it's not real. It's not real. Kind of not real.
Yeah, it was so weird. And then I don't know if I could buy into her eating the meat right off the bat because she already came off as somebody who's pretty vocal about what she's comfortable with. Mm-hmm. So for her to like try out the meat, even though I feel like she would have just straight up said, remember what I said? I'm vegetarian. Mm-hmm. I can't eat this. Yeah. It's like, do you have any, vegetable options that we can do? Like, I could not imagine her actually sitting through dinner eating a whole pork roast.
I know, because when they took the
little piece. The special piece.
For the 24 one, he took the piece out and he's just like, oh yeah, no, this is for you specifically. Because then the husband, Ben, was just like, oh, I'll try. He's like, no, the woman first. So he was like pushing for her to do it because he already knows. Yeah. And everybody's just, Luis and Ben are just like, did we not say that I'm a vegetarian? Like, I don't understand. So she like puts the whole thing in her mouth. In the 22 one, she just bit a little piece off. Yes. And she actually swallowed it. And this one, she turns around and spits it out.
Like a child,
But basically. Then later on in the film, we realized that she basically sat down at dinner and she ate what was served to her of that. And I was just like, really? Yeah. Like, you still...
No puking or anything? That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, like, okay, she eats fish or whatever, but that's totally different.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. I just sat there thinking like, damn, Ben, you let a whole man just put his meat in your wife's mouth. Like that's insane.
Oh gosh, that just went like.
Yeah, and I noticed that in this movie, fairly often, whenever those tense moments where the American couple's boundaries are tested and pushed, the movie tends to lean a little more towards like the humorous like aspects of it. They try to frame it in a way that makes you want to laugh. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the original Danish one, you felt just genuinely like uncomfortable and just like secondhand embarrassment and wanting to like shrink in your seat.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, which I think that's why I appreciated the Danish one a little bit more because it was something that I wasn't used to. And I'm like, oh, wow, I'm deeply uncomfortable.
I don't know. I guess like for me, I was just like, is this how the Danish are? Because like I wasn't relating to it. I was just like, y'all good? You don't want to say like, what the fuck? Like I definitely felt that like I was uncomfortable. In this one, I was just annoyed. I was just like, we not because the
why aren't you speaking up? Like it feels like they should have said something.
Louise, this wife, she's a little bit more vocal about stuff. I mean, the wife in the Danish one, she spoke up once in a while, but I felt like she really followed what her husband said.
Yeah, she heavily leaned on like, hey, husband, I need you to come through.
Yeah, and when he didn't, she just kind of...
She had to explode at some point.
Yeah, which she did, but then she kind of just like let it happen and accepted it. And it was just like, whatever. It's like she didn't really want to make a fuss or anything like that. Mm-hmm. This one, she was fine making a fuss. There was already...
She clearly wears the pants in this relationship.
Yeah, there was already tension, like you said, with their relationship.
Yeah.
So... they had like a big blow up too, like later on in the film where she calls him out, and it was just like really funny because I was just like, okay, come to find out she cheated, and he was upset about that, and at this point, she was just like over it. She's just like, I don't know what the fuck you want me to do. She's like, I apologize. We could have separated. You stayed with me. Like, we need to move past this, but you over here being a bitch. And I was just like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also, like, I heavily agreed with her. Like, I mean...
Oh, yeah, for sure. I was, like, totally on her side in this movie.
Like, even, like, with the stuff with the cheating, I was just like, okay, so you guys decided to move forward with this, and you're still holding it over her head or, like, making it a problem or not trying to get past it fully.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like, why are you here then? Like, why are you still with her? Like... It was really frustrating.
Yeah.
Which, like, in this one, I really just wanted the husband to go away. I was really hoping, I was just like, maybe she's just going to pack up her and Agnes and he could stay here with Patty and his crazies. Like that's what I wanted to happen.
Yeah.
Alternate ending. Like, let's,
Oh my God.
Let's do another adaptation.
If we're lucky enough to get a Blu-ray, maybe they'll have alternate endings.
Oh.
Yeah, in this movie, again, that was part of my frustration that I mentioned earlier of the setup of the couple, the American couple. The fact that even during the middle of the movie where they have that clashing point, I just felt like I don't understand why you guys are together at this point, and I don't care. Like, I wish I could get behind you guys' relationship. I would have really liked to have seen a back and forth of, like, them fighting, but then they have points where they genuinely get along and get to and make up together and make progress. But I feel like it's just like a constant, just like a flat line. It's like they're constantly like always like bitter with each other. It's mainly like Ben. I think Ben is like the problem. It's like he's holding things over her head.
Yeah.
And then that causes him to not really come to her defense and advocate for her when she starts getting disrespected by Patty or Kiara, the wife. I just feel like I think they really underutilized his character. They just made him so frustratingly like inactive to the point where I'm just like, I don't know why you're in this movie. It could just be a single mom with a child getting harassed here.
I feel like that's how a lot of people in the audience felt as well too.
Oh my God, the audience reactions were so funny.
Everybody's like, divorce him. Alvin's over here, divorce him. This guy over here, he's like, oh, divorce him.
I legit spoke up in the theater because everybody else wanted to chime in. I was like, divorce.
Yeah.
Because why? Every time he just fucking fumbles. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Even for the littlest things, it's so annoying. When they go out for dinner and then the American couple realizes that they're not going to be bringing their kids, I feel like at that point, I mean, I feel like in both the adaptations, I was having a really hard time suspending my disbelief. I was just like, you really feel like you can leave your kid with this man you don't really know, and he's just like, he's a babysitter, but you barely know this couple you're hanging out with.
I don't even have Pickney, and I'm just like, I'm not leaving my Pickney with no random man.
Like, yeah, it's like the kids are like your first priority in this foreign place that you're not familiar with people that you don't know. And
you're already uncomfortable with these people.
Yeah.
Like, you've been uncomfortable since you met them. You overlooked it. You went here. You've been super uncomfortable this whole time.
By the time you get to the restaurant, you're already, like, just seeing, like, 10 red flags.
Yeah.
And then now they drop this bomb on you. Like, oh, yeah, we're not bringing the kids. Did I not say that to you sooner?
Like,
it's like, no, bitch, you didn't.
Oh, my God.
You didn't. Who is this man?
Yeah.
It doesn't help that Patty, in this American version, makes basically a xenophobic comment about the babysitter they have. He's like, oh, yeah. He's like, I think he was like a Syrian refugee or something. And he's like, well, if he ever fucks up the job, we can always just, deport him.
Yeah.
I was like,
what?
Yikes, what the fuck? Like... So like at that point I'd just be like, you know what, it's been fun, we gotta get home, my stomach hurts. So I from all the stress. But they go ahead with the dinner anyways, and then at the dinner table, like, again, I don't see why the couple would stick around. Like, there's moments where they have fun, but then there's moments where they clearly are like being bothered by this British couple again, like aggressively. I think, is this the point where Patty brings up the vegetarianism again and keeps challenging Louise?
They were ordering food, and then Louise was just like, oh, remember, I'm vegetarian.
Yeah.
And
then they
just
bring
like,
up the fish again.
He's like,
too.
oh, but don't you eat fish? And he's just like, okay, well, that's like that. You're a pescatarian, then you're not like, and she's just like, yeah, well, and he's just like, I guess it's better for the environment, but he's like, let's make sure this is all eco-friendly, like food and all stuff like that. I was just like, oh my God.
Very
so
sarcastic,
rude.
like, damn.
Ben doesn't say shit. Ben's just like, huh.
Yeah, he's like
yeah, he doesn't do anything. It's clearly awkward and just uncomfortable, and then they kind of move past that. And then Patty and what's her name?
Kiara.
They do some weird, like, shit too, where they're just like, oh yeah, you know,
we like to role play and keep
and we
it
have
fresh.
sex every single day. And Louise is just like, what? And then she was just like, you know, he's lucky if he gets it once a month. Which I was just like, he's lucky if he gets it at all. He sucks.
Fuck Ben.
Fuck Ben, but don't fuck him. Yeah, and it was really awkward though, because they started role playing, and then
I guess,
Kiara makes moves, like she goes under the table, and then Patty's just sitting there pretending that she's like going down on him.
Yeah.
And then Luis and Ben just sit there and like watch.
They're just like
uncomfortably, like.
Yeah.
They watch. They don't even look away uncomfortably. They just watch uncomfortably.
Yeah,
they don't say anything.
They don't even straight up say, hey, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I was just like, what the hell? And then Patty's like, ha ha ha. And I was just like, I can't tell if you were actually ha 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 or if she had your shit out. Like, it was just like, I really don't. I'm like, I'm going to assume that his shit wasn't out, but I was just like, what? Yeah. And then they just go on like, oh, that's totally
like
cool.
Happened.
And I'm like,
I guess.
You guys are so uncomfortable. Like, I feel like this... Like in the American one, I was just like they pushing it even further.
Yeah,
y'all
it
are
goes
uncomfortable.
Over the top.
Leave.
Yeah, and those are the points where I had a hard time suspending my disbelief compared to the Danish one. They're a lot more naturalistic. Is what I took away from that. It felt like they were genuinely having fun at first. They had a good time. Again, there was the tension of like the dietary restriction, but then they also. Again, they go to like the sexual level, but it's more tame. It's like the Dutch couple are very handsy with each other when they decide to dance.
Yeah.
And then you see the Danish couple, they're dancing with each other, but they're like awkwardly like holding each other, not really having a fun time.
Yeah.
And I think there was like a lot of subtlety in that scene because it was a mix of, yes, they're uncomfortable with the way that this couple is touching each other in front of them. But I also think it was representative of how they're not happy with each other because earlier in the movie, there are silent, quiet scenes when they're back at home before they go on their trip where the Bjorn character, the husband, just always looks miserable whenever he has company over. He's not having fun with the guests that he has or with his wife. And it shows again in that dance scene. And I loved how subtle that was. And again, it was just no dialogue, just the two couples being filmed side by side. They're both drastically different in terms of like how they operate with each other. These two are psychos, but they genuinely like enjoy each other's company. And then the Danish couple is just like, I don't really like this person, and then I'm also really uncomfortable by you guys.
Yeah.
So I liked how they did the restaurant scene better in the Danish version, I think, because here again it just started getting over the top to the point where I'm like, I feel like even in American. Because we do have a culture where we like try to be polite and we don't try to judge too much.
Try.
Yeah. But I feel like they would have said something straight up.
Yeah.
About like Patty pretending to get head. Because they were convinced that it was actually happening.
I was convinced that it was happening.
Yeah, we were all convinced. I was like, wait, what?
Like, I was ready to get up and leave because I was just like, this is not what I signed up for. Like,
yeah.
You know?
Does the restaurant owner know about this? Is he cool with this?
He's probably over there watching.
Yeah. So... Yeah, that was like one of the points where I had a hard time buying into like the plot. But I mean, then they go back home, and then that's when you mentioned that they had an argument. The American couple have an argument about their marriage. They bring up that there's a dick pic involved. So Louise had like a dick pic from somebody. So it was cheating. It wasn't like a physical thing, but obviously it was like an emotional cheating.
Yeah.
So that kept the story kind of interesting, but I also was just like, I don't know if I believe them making up either, because they argue and then for some reason they start like, I don't know, being okay with each other during the argument.
I feel like they're at a point where it's just like, this is our relationship. We're just here. Like they're just here.
Yeah.
Like it's like no point in leaving.
'Cause I feel like nothing's been working out for them so far.
Yeah.
I feel like they would have fought so much where like Louise would have been like, we need to get the fuck out of here. Yeah, so when they get back home, again, I feel like the Danish version did this so much better, but the couple does get into an argument, they make up, but for some reason when they go to bed, they never hear from Agnes when she like cries to like come to like sleep with them.
Yeah, I thought that was weird because when they got home in the 24, when they got home, she checks on Agnes. Louise checks on Agnes, and she's sleeping in Aunt's room.
Yeah.
Aunt's room.
Yeah.
Or they look like they're sleeping because they were talking. And we'll get into Aunt too. His character is also definitely more fleshed out and more abuse in this one. But they go back, have that argument in the Danish one. You know, they go back home and then, I don't know, they're just like, let's have sex, you know, because...
Yeah, and I think it felt natural.
It felt natural, and it was just like, you know, we're trying to be like them, but we also can still do this. We still have this thing for each other. And I was just like, okay, I guess. And then that was when Agnes, she was crying in the Danish one, and they didn't hear her. Or I felt like they did.
Her.
They ignored her, right?
They legit stopped midway through makeout, and they're just like, fuck it, come here, bitch. So they outright ignored her. Which was good. That was a good moment.
And I was just like, okay. And then that's how Agnes ended up in the bed with the couple and Abel. Their son's name is Abel in the Danish movie. And they were all in the bed. And then finally the mom goes to go check on Agnes, and she's not there. And then she finds her in the bedroom with like Patrick, who's like basically naked. And then, you know,
that's her. That's where the final straw breaks for her.
And I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. In this one, I just felt like there was like a missing piece somewhere, because I'm like, I feel like Agnes would have knocked on the door, because it's not like she got shooed away or anything.
In the beginning of the movie, when they first came to the house, she comes right in, and then Ben was just like, this bitch, like, with her little bunny app and her bunny hopper breathing and relaxer stuff. App. Yeah, and like Louise is fine with it and stuff, because she's just like, fuck Ben, like he could be here or not. So it was like not a big deal, but I was just like, why didn't she come to her
parents? Was just the script just said, fuck it, just go to Patty's bedroom for some reason to create tension.
Maybe Kiara was being like pushy, because we see her start to pay a little bit more attention to Agnes further into the film, where she's just like constantly like, hey, you want to do this with me, or hey, do this, or you shouldn't do this, and she starts like doing these things like slow. It's like a slow like she's slowly training her, you know, like slowly making sure that she listens to her and is going to start doing what she says for like when they decide to be crazy. I mean, they're already crazy.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And in both those situations, that's when Louise decides, we need to get out of here. We need to leave. And I think at that point, I feel like that's like, because if you're over here taking my kid in your bed and you're like half naked or fully naked and you're not coming to me about it.
Yeah.
That's a huge line to cross, and that's it. And I also wanted to mention real quick, I forgot to mention that in the American version, there's an added scene while the parents are at the restaurant with the two kids playing hide and seek with the babysitter.
Oh yeah.
And the character of Ant, the son with the deformity of his tongue. There's a revelation of that later. He's trying to warn Agnes of something by like trying to show her like all these watches that are collected in Patty's room, and there's like some writing written in like a European language, and Agnes is not able to understand what he's trying to communicate.
Yeah,
and that's like a theme that keeps coming up throughout the movies. Ant always takes like an active role compared to the original Danish movie, where we don't see that these kids are trying to actively learn about what's going on and then escape.
Yeah,
which I think I appreciated that change, because I think that's what sets up the ultimate change in the third act, because the kids take a huge active role in this movie, I think. But I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate that change. I thought that was really cool. And it added more tension, because there was like a lot of moments where I found myself laughing, and I'm like, where are the moments where I should feel genuinely terrified?
Yeah,
because sometimes I'd be forgetting that like these people are trying to kill them low key. And we just found ourselves laughing more than like feeling tension, I think.
Yeah, there was something a little bit more comical about this one.
Which, again, I think is very American.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, the kids in the Danish one, they were really just background characters.
Yeah.
There wasn't much to them at all. I don't think Abel really made any attempts to be like, hey, like, help me, or, you know, like, save yourselves, run, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, he doesn't really take that role.
I feel like maybe, I don't know if in that one he's literally supposed to be broken and just going along with it.
I mean, that worked for me too.
Yeah,
that version. Yeah. So what so the American family finally decides to leave, and we get to that scene where they're driving away, and they could have made a clean break, and then for some reason, Agnes, of course, conveniently loses her fucking stuffed bunny, and she has a panic attack essentially. And then Ben's fucking fuck ass wants to be dad of the year and be like, oh, fine, and then turns the car around. I'm just like, I didn't understand that. I honestly, like, even the Louise character threw me off there, because I feel like she was very supportive of their daughter having this doll and trying to keep her calm. But like, if she was that concerned for her daughter to leave in the middle of the night, I think she would have been fine letting Agnes freak out for the next however many hours to get back to London.
Yeah.
Because like, that was really hard for me to buy into compared to the Danish version.
I think it's just because we don't know gentle parenting, so I'm just like, wop wop.
I was extremely gentle. I was just like,
what?
You think your daughter's life is at stake, and you're gonna go back
for a stupid stuffed
toy?
Animal that you guys already told her, come Christmas or whenever,
that shit's gone.
He needs to go get his own place. The little Hopper needs to go. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, we're really turning around. I mean, like, I know this is how it happened in the Danish one, and it's following closely.
And obviously the movie has to continue somehow, because this is only like the second act. And but still, it was so hard to buy into.
Yeah, this time around, it was difficult. I mean, the first one, it was a little difficult for me too, because the mom snapped quite a bit.
Yes.
In the Danish one.
Yeah,
she snaps at Agnes. She snaps at the husband quite a few times.
Yes.
And when they were in the car and Agnes was going off, she like snaps at her. And I'm just like, okay, good. We ain't turning around. Nope. The dad turns around. I'm just like, okay, I guess we're doing that. In this one, I don't know, like, I was a little bit more annoyed about it, even though I knew, like, this is how the story is supposed to go so far. But I was just like, ugh. For some, I don't know, I wanted it to, I'm like, can we change the way this story's going now? Like, can we change it? Can we just, like, leave the stupid rabbit?
Yeah, honestly. But then the movie would end in, like, less than an hour.
Good, because y'all stressing me out still. All kinds of stress, gaslighting me and all that shit. No.
Yeah, when they got back to the house, I just was like... This is so fucking stupid. But
and it was really funny when they got back to the house, and then Ben was just like, wait here for 2 minutes. Goes in, like 30 seconds pass. Luis goes in, and then everybody in the audience just like, it wasn't even 2 minutes yet. Or whatever.
I think someone next to us was like, it wasn't even one.
Yeah. Oh my god, the audience commentary is just so funny.
Yeah, this is one of the moments where people talking in the theater was actually a really fun time.
Yeah,
we were all just sharing the same brain at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think the movie intentionally pulled on that string.
Yeah,
because this is this was an intentional design. So when they get back to the house, I'm really fascinated by the key differences in how this plays out in the original one and this one. In this version, the British couple basically, they do a bit of gaslighting, but actually no, they do full on gaslighting, but they do it in a nicer way with lies. They
a nicer way.
They're less antagonistic, and they're more just like trying to be self-deprecating, because they bring up this story about how, like, you know, they had a daughter that died after like a couple of weeks, and Patty's like, no, don't do this to me, don't talk about it, please, we don't do this. And then Kiara's talking about, like, I'm sorry, like, we wanted Agnes with us, my maternal instincts activated because I remember my daughter that I lost at 6 weeks old. And then it just made the American couple just stunned. They were just like, are we the assholes for going off on you?
Be the assholes.
Meanwhile, in the Danish version, the Danish couple are straight up getting gaslit with, like, straight up just manipulative lies, talking about, like, oh, I'm sorry that you don't like our cooking. I'm sorry that the bed wasn't comfortable enough and that we're not rich enough.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow. And then that convinced them to stay anyways. I was just like, that should have continued with more fighting.
Yeah.
It was, so I think in this American version, they were surprisingly a little bit more convincing compared to the Danish version of keeping the victims in the house.
Yeah.
Because they made it more about themselves. I mean, it doesn't excuse the creepy nature of bringing their daughter in their bed without their, like, consent. Mm-hmm. But at least they pulled out this bullshit lie that the parents could, like, sympathize with. Whereas in the Danish one, they just straight up took, like, all the lies, and they were just like, I guess we were wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, literally.
Instead of being like, that's literally not what I said.
Oh, my God.
So it was funny to see those two differences at that point. I thought the American version would have, like, completely knocked me out of believability, but I actually was just like, I could kind of see why they would stick around, but still it made no sense at the end of the day why they stuck around.
Yeah, it didn't.
It was really crazy. So then they really stick around to hang out more. And then not even long after that, like they have some decent times here and there, but then again, the passive aggressiveness just keeps building up and building up. Like at one point, they've the parents are all hanging out with their kids out having lunch or whatever at their backyard, and then the dance routine scene.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, where they actually start witnessing the abuse that Aunt like experiences from Patty.
Mm-hmm.
Like this dude is really like on another level. Like he's like every awful judge that you've seen in a popular TV series, but like violent. Like the fact that Patty was taking it so serious where Aunt kept missing his dance routine steps.
Yeah.
It's just like these two kids are just having fun.
Yeah, they just wanted to show you a stupid dance that kids do and be like, look what I can do. And it's just like, yeah. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. And he, like, wasn't doing that. He's just like, this is really important. If he's going to make anything of himself, I'm just like...
Dude, it's a dance routine.
What was the stupid song? That song they made everybody dance to in elementary.
Cotton Eye Joe.
Yes. I don't know
They
why.
put the most stereotypical one, like...
Yeah. I was like, what?
At least the Danish one had
that
something I
kind of
never
gave
heard
me
of.
PTSD because I remember in like elementary school every year we would have like this thing in the gym and everybody had to do the dance and I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah when they get to the point of that outburst where like Patty gradually keeps getting angrier and angrier to the point where he tosses his mug at his child.
Yeah.
And this kid might as well be pissing himself. He's just frozen stiff. And then Agnes is like, I don't want to dance anymore. I don't want to do this. And Ben's dumb, stupid ass is just like being pressured to be like, you know what, just do one more. Do one more. Because Patty keeps insisting on doing one more. And even Ben's just like, oh, yeah, honey, just do it one more time. And Louise is like, nope, did you not see what the fuck just happened? We witnessed abuse.
Yeah.
We witnessed abuse.
And this was after Louise called out Kiara for... telling Agnes what to do because Agnes kept saying, oh yeah, eat your greens, and oh you shouldn't do this, and you need to do, and then Louise was just like, can you stop telling my daughter what to do? And then it got like really awkward, and then Patty was just like, you know what, she's right, Kiara, and it's like apologize to Agnes. So she does that, and then he's like, Louise,
anything you'd like to say?
And then she's just like,
what
the fuck, what the fuck? And I was like, what is she supposed to say? Like,
I know.
I was so, and then she just like, I'm sorry for.
She was like, I may have overreacted.
Yeah, I was just like, no. And then that's when, I don't know if they purposely, like, started, like, being a piece of shit to Aunt, like, where he threw the mug at him and was forcing him to dance. And then that's when Ben and Louise, like, lashed out. They're just like, what are you doing? He's a kid. It's just a silly dance. He's like, well, oh, look, you're upset about our parenting style. Like, you know, you're trying to tell us what to do. And they're just like,
it's
you're
about
abusing
doing the right thing.
What the fuck? And they still didn't leave. They were still there.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just like, what the
Everyone's just taking a time out at this point. It's so awkward. It's like
Patty goes upstairs.
Patty goes to take a nap.
Yeah. And then like at that point though, that was like a really important moment because he goes to take the nap. You know, Louise and Ben are still outside with Kiara. Agnes is out there with Aunt. Aunt goes to get some keys off of Patty while he's sleeping, which was so stressful because I thought he was gonna wake up and snatch Aunt up, and I was just like,
whip that ass with that belt.
Yeah, or kill that ass with that belt. That was like a really tense moment. And then this is when like he's really like at the point of like, I need to get this information to Agnes. I need her to understand what's going on.
I need her to get me the fuck out.
Yeah, basically. Because like, I don't know. She's just like, I don't get it. I don't understand. And I don't know. We discussed like where Ant's from, like if he knows English or what. I don't know where he's supposed to be from.
I don't know if he's European or American. He's likely European if he's...
Because he was trying to write a note to Agnes when they were coloring, like drawing on some eggs. Yeah. And I was just like, what grade is he in? Because
I could not understand the letters.
So I was just like, maybe it's a different language.
Yeah.
But then I was just like, the Patty and Kiara, they're British.
Mm-hmm.
They're British. And then Ben and Louise are American, and they live in London for work or Ben's work or whatever. Yeah. So they're speaking English.
They're all speaking English.
Then I was just like, well, what does Aunt speak if he's writing like this, or he's pointing to a watch that has writing on it that Agnes doesn't understand because she's 11.
Yeah.
So like she can read for the most part, you know. So she wasn't understanding it.
Yeah.
And I was like, is she just not understanding why he's showing her these watches in the drawers earlier in the film when they were being
she legit didn't understand the writing because I didn't understand the writing.
I was trying. It happened so quick because I was trying to like read it.
It was
and
European
then I was just
writing.
Like, okay. And then I guess he writes on that note, she still doesn't understand. And it was really scary because then Kiara comes over to come see like, oh, what they drew or whatever.
This poor boy.
He shoves that note in his mouth so quickly. And then Agnes just like,
something's way off.
Something's off. But
So
she
then,
doesn't
yeah.
say anything. And I think it's a little weird that she doesn't really say much throughout the film to her parents, even though Anne is showing like all these weird
Distressing
behaviors
behavior.
to her. And she's kind of like, huh? But she doesn't really say or do anything about it.
Yeah, I think that's how the script was.
I guess, yeah. I was just like, you never want to say hey, but then she does try to say something to her mom, and he's just like, he's acting weird, like and her mom's like, that's not nice.
The mom thought she was being ableist. I was like,
yeah.
no, that's not what I'm trying to say, Mom. I don't. I'm fucking 11 years old. I can't communicate properly. All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that moment when they all take a time out, that's when he's just like, all right, Agnes, like, you need to come to the
stable here.
And
look at this secret compartment layer.
Yes.
With all these belongings.
He goes down there and there's suitcases. There's clothes, there's
photos,
there's all this shit, which I liked it. It really like showed like what was going on more than the Danish one, but the Danish one had all these photos and
yeah, it was both show and tell scenes, which is great.
And the Danish one just had a shit ton of photos. So, like, I think...
all plastered on the walls in
like,
a room.
I was like, that's a lot of fucking... I was like, how often do they do this?
That's a lot of dead people.
That's a lot. I feel like there's a lot more in the Danish one than in the American one, somehow.
Probably. But still quite a few in this version.
Yeah, it's quite a few. Because I think, like, Patty had, like... 8 watches maybe in his drawer, and I was like, I don't know if that's account for all the families that they did this to, or if there's more, if not every husband had a watch. I don't know, but it seemed like that was the trophy he was keeping, and he wears that one at the time until he's ready to swap out for whichever family they kill next. But in the Danish one, there was just like so many photos, and then like just watching how it swapped from like taking a little boy, then taking a little girl from the next family, and just kept like a pattern. I was just like, wow, it's like, this is crazy. But when Aunt brings Agnes into that like underground area of the stable, and he's showing her all this stuff, then he pulls their photo that their families took together. He's just like, I'm gonna be gone, and you're gonna be the next one, and your tongue gonna look like there ain't gonna be no tongue. And I was just like, come on.
That his tongue got cut.
I was like, I know, he's just 3 2. He remembers 3, and I was just like, come on, Agnes, let's put it all together now. Can we just? Can we get there?
Yeah. Yeah. And that was a good scene. I really love how it was really a show more than tell type of scene, because this kid can't talk.
Yeah.
And so it's up to Agnes to put everything together, what he's trying to communicate with nonverbal movements.
Yeah.
So I thought that was done really well. I thought that added plenty of suspense, and then it made you feel more for this child. It really kind of like started breaking my heart for Ant, and I appreciated that this version of the movie gives him more of a personality, more of a character.
Yeah.
Because we don't get much of Abel, the Danish version. I mean, you obviously still care for him. He's a kid, and he's obviously being like tormented, but they don't highlight that as much.
Yeah. I feel like the one in the Danish one, I feel like he's really just, he's broken.
Yeah.
Like there's no, like, I feel
there's
like...
no will left.
Yeah, there's no will, there's no fight. He kind of goes along with whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And I don't know
Which is tragic in its own way.
Yeah, because I was just like, I don't know if he's just like, I just can't wait for them to finally kill me so this can be over with, for like such a young kid to be like, but that's what I felt his character was. It was just like, he's just waiting for this to be over with, even if that means another family and another kid having to like take his place and suffer, what these people are doing. But I kind of did like, I liked him a little bit better because he had the fight in him, and I wanted to see what he's going to do, and I was rooting for him. And like, I was worried about him the whole entire time. I really thought, like,
I know,
I was like,
because when he tries to put the belt back on Patty while he's wide awake, I was like, this kid is clever.
Yes.
I really thought he was going to get caught with that belt. And then when he's asking or motioning for a piggyback ride, that's where he just snaps the keys right back on him. Yeah. Like, good on you, kid.
Yeah, I know.
And I can buy into these kids being resourceful. Like, I for the movie, I can get behind that, because I'm rooting for them.
Yeah,
I am rooting for them to make it out. And we see that Agnes is resourceful herself. She's over here pricking herself in the thigh with like a thorn that she can mimic having her first period, so that she can isolate herself with the parents.
Yeah.
And tell them what exactly is going on. And then when they're all on the same page of what's happening, that's when it really just like starts becoming a full-on thriller.
Yeah, because at that point, I feel like Patty and Kiara, they're ready to kill these people. Like
Yeah.
they're just like, all right, this has been great. Like it's time for you guys to die. Like we're ready for the kill, basically.
Yeah.
Because like this whole time, it's basically been a hunt. They've had them there, but it's like everything they're doing, the way they're treating them, gaslighting them, that's all part of the hunt that they do, and to like break this family down.
Yeah.
But it doesn't go that way, and I think that's because of Aunt getting this information out to them. I mean, this family, I feel like they definitely, well, at least the wife, fuck the husband, at least the wife and the daughter, there was like a little bit more awareness. They still were, you know, they were just still going along with everything and not paying attention and not, you know, not speaking up for themselves. But there was definitely a little bit more something to them than the Danish couple, the Danish wife, the daughter. They gave more of that. So like I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I was just like, all right. I was like, shit's about to pop off now because Patty's ready. He's just like, all right. He's like, oh, look, like she got her first period. You saw the face he made when Kiara was just like, oh, she got her period. He's just like, oh.
This is why I wanted to watch this movie, just for James McAvoy, because every time he turns that shit on where he's about to like lose his composure, it's the most stressful thing to watch. It's way more stressful than when he goes full on violence. When you see the twitches in his face, he's trying to smile, he's just like
the Homelander.
like, he's got that same thing as Homelander, where it's just like he knows how to really emote with his face without saying a single word.
Yeah,
you know what he's feeling. He's a man turning into a werewolf in front of them.
I don't know. Is it just me, or did he just seem like he was getting bigger? Because he was giving like the Split vibes from Split.
It was reminding me of Split. I'm like,
and I'm just like,
the more aggressive he got, the more muscular and enlarged.
Yes.
Like,
because he's always wearing like, you know, the polos, like the button-up shirts or whatever. And
there was a shirtless scene when they were jumping off into the water, but he didn't look as shredded as here, where like his traps are just like Dragon Ball Z level. It was insane.
I was just like, don't do that. Like,
I really thought there was a crossover between Split and this, because I'm like, are you the guy?
Are you the guy?
Are you the beast? Yeah, because he's terrifying.
Yeah,
when shit really goes off. So like the fact that they got found out, but the family that's torturing them is still messing with them even until like the very end, where like they're about to let them go, and then Patty just pushes Ant into the lake, and lets him drown. And it forces Ben to like get out of the car, go save him, and then that leaves him vulnerable because then his family gets kidnapped at gunpoint.
Yeah, because that was like the whole plan, was just like, oh, well, when they were getting ready to leave, they're just like, oh, we're just gonna take her back home. She's very traumatized about her first period. They get to the car, there's a flat, and then Ben mentions to Louise, he's like, there's a flat, just pretend you don't see it or whatever. And then Patty's like, oh, what? Look at the luck of this or whatever. And that's when
highly unnecessary what they're doing right now.
And I was just like, okay. He's like, let me help you change it and stuff, because they were just gonna drive on that.
Yeah, no AAA. Don't. Yeah, let me do this for you.
They drive in a Tesla, y'all. So like, that was also like kind of amusing to me, but I won't. Yeah, I was just
that's what you get for being a Tesla owner.
I was just like, do you guys have juice in this car still? Because you drove this way, you drove that way, now you're trying to drive away, and I'm just like, this just. But anyways, not the point.
Yeah, they changed the tire.
And then they get ready to leave, and then as
Patty's
they're leaving,
like, oh no, the doll.
Oh yes, the stupid freaking doll, and that was really annoying. And he has Ben go up on the ladder to get the rabbit. How did that get there? All the while like fucking around with the ladder and stuff, which I was just like, oh shit, they're gonna make him drop, and that's when they're gonna yoke up the whole family here. But they surprisingly they don't do that yet. But once they get in the car, they start driving away. Agnes is just like, oh, what about Aunt? And then they're just like, don't worry.
We'll call the police.
No, the husband, he was just like, oh yeah. He's like, Aunt, can you help me open the gate? So Aunt's just like, yeah, I'll come open that gate. Aunt was ready. And then Patty was just like, no, I got the remote here. And I was just like, damn, Aunt, what are we gonna do?
Yeah,
we don't have to call the police at this point. But that's when like you said, Patty pushes Aunt into the water, and Aunt can't swim, and we know that from earlier on in the movie when they all go to take a dip. Aunt can't swim. He's just there drowning. They're just like, oh, he's fine. Patty's there. He gonna get him. I'm like, Patty, you gonna go get him, because he's under the water.
Yeah. Yeah,
it was really bad, but yeah, that stops them from escaping, because Ben decides to go save him. And I don't know, it's like, Luis, you didn't want to get in that seat a little quicker? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I would have drove through the gate. I don't know. But
we need more movie to happen.
I guess. I'm just like, I'm ready to go. Like, these people are crazy. Like,
yeah. Yeah, and then this gets extended into basically a reverse home invasion movie. It's not their house, but they for some reason barricade themselves in Patty and Kiara's home instead of running over the gunman that they have, who's like the restaurant owner from earlier. Oh, yeah, the restaurant
owner.
I'm like,
that's
all right.
funny. I was asking, I was just like, is he in on this, you think? And lo and behold, he was there.
I know, and I was over here thinking like, no, it's going to be the babysitter.
Yeah, because that's what they did in the other one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I was like,
okay. The whole town's in on this shit?
Yeah, I was like, are we doing village? Some weird Texas Chainsaw Massacre type, everybody? Yeah. But yeah, I'm like, you guys barricade yourself in there. You have one gun and no real plan. I'm like, Patty has a gun, the restaurant owner has a gun, and I'm pretty sure Kiara, which she does eventually, she gets a gun as well too. I'm like, You got 3 people, and this is after they are captured. What was it? Louise, she had like that box cutter that when they were planning their escape in the bathroom, with Agnes saying that she had her period, she had a box cutter with her. The only reason they were able to get away is because she slashes Patty's face or whatever. Yeah. And then, he goes off on Kiara, which I was just like, There was a couple of times where I was just like, is Kiara really, really a part of this throughout the movie? But I ignored it. And then there was a moment when they were escaping from that area where she's like, don't leave me with him, take me with you, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, huh? And I was just like, is that
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was like, is this a tactic for her to make sure they can't get away and they sympathize with her and keep her? Or is she really also a victim who's just been confused into thinking this is okay and just being a part of all of this? I wasn't sure. Did you from that point to the end, did you ever think maybe she was never supposed to be a part of this?
I never once thought she wasn't a part of this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The 22 one, I definitely was just like, yeah, she's definitely. But this one, I was just like, were they trying to do something different? Because
from my understanding, it looked like Kiara was still part of this. She's just a manipulator.
Yeah, that could be it. That's probably true.
That's it. She comes off as a manipulator.
Because at one point, I mean, spoiler, but we're already in spoilers. She does die, and then Patty's just like, "Oh, I'm gonna keep Agnes, and she'll
take care of me now.
She'll take care of me now." And I was just like and I thought that made me think. I was like, "Is that what happened with Kiara at one point?"
Because Ben does make an offhand comment about their relationship at the restaurant about their age difference.
Oh,
and
yeah,
he was just like, what do you how old do you think she was in the last 17 years or whatever the fuck?
Yeah.
So I didn't know exactly how old the Kiara character is, but it sounds like she might have been groomed at a young age.
That's what I was thinking. So I was like, that's something that also seems to be a little bit different than
yeah, that was a totally different concept than in the original movie.
Yeah.
So then they escape from the garage and then barricade themselves in the house, and I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
Why? This is fucking stupid.
We need more movie, like you said.
I need more movie. This is why it was an hour and 50 minutes, not an hour and 30. But I guess it was fine. It was still entertaining throughout the whole time. I don't think it needed to be extended throughout this whole house chasing scene, but it was entertaining. It was very fun to yell with the crowd whenever Ben just completely fucked up and just completely fumbled every single chance that he had to make a name for himself. He's been waiting for a long time for this.
Yes. Stop it.
Yes. And he proves time and time again this dude is fucking useless. When they're first barricaded in some living room somewhere, he's over here just panicking. He's like, I'm sorry, Louise, I don't know why we're here. It's just I don't know what to do.
Everybody busted out laughing this useless ass motherfucker.
And Louis over here with a shotgun. He's here just in fetal position on the couch.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, bro.
That's why I was like, he better die. He better sacrifice himself.
Either be useless or sacrifice yourself as a decoy.
Yeah.
One of the two. Do something to contribute to this school project right now, because wow, you're pissing me off. I'm having a very hard time sympathizing with a man like that.
Yeah.
I can't. I really can't. This dude finally picks up some sort of weapon. Somebody in the crowd earlier told him to pick up a hammer when they were changing the tire.
Oh, yeah, the guy next to us.
Yeah, and then finally he does have a hammer when he's about to, cross paths with the restaurant owner who he has a shotgun. He could have easily snuck behind him and slammed the hammer on his ass. And instead, for some reason, when the wife is about to get killed, Ben is just over here just like doing some slapstick comedy, throws his whole body weight instead of the hammer, and just like awkwardly bumps against the guy's back and then almost dies.
Yeah, almost.
And Louise has to come and save his ass
with the hammer.
I'm like, this is how you do it.
Mm-hmm. I was like, damn.
At that point, that's when I was just yelling, like, please get a divorce. I want a post-credit scene of them getting divorced, and there was no post-credit scene. That was humiliating. Again, this is a weird, it was entertaining, but it also left me really, like, confused. I'm like, why is this shit so funny right now? This is the most heavy moment, the most heavy point of the movie, and I'm still laughing at this embarrassing man.
Yeah.
Like, why? Why do we keep doing this?
He was such a joke. Like, I couldn't stand him. But, yeah, he oh God, he was so annoying. I thought the Danish husband was like really annoying, but he was annoying.
He was annoying in his own way.
Yeah, for different reasons that made sense to the film. Like that was like part of the story. It made sense. Yeah. This guy was just like, you're not even trying. No effort. You don't like your wife. I don't even think he really cares about his kid like that. Like I didn't feel any of that. I was just like, why are you here? These two are in this situation because of you. Like this, I really felt like the other one. I felt that way too, but like different. As the couple was the issue. Yeah, like they were the victims, but they also were like a major issue. This one, I just felt like it was all this guy. He was a hindrance from the beginning, and I think that's the only reason why this character is here is for being a reason for Louise to stay longer. Because if she was like a single mom visiting these people, she would have left. Like before the first day ended. She wouldn't even have gone. She would have told Alex, you ain't getting your ass on that scooter. Shut up and let's go. That's what she would have done. Because I feel like that might be like one thing that I'll nitpick in this movie is that this Ben character, the actor plays him perfectly fine. He knows the material. He knows how to play this pathetic, groveling little dumbass. But he could have had so much more. There was like this... I feel like there was like a setup for this character to grow, and then it just never happens. Yeah. I'm like, why is this character here? I feel like the only reason he's here is for plot device, for the movie to keep going. Yeah. Otherwise, Louise wouldn't stay if it was just her or like some other competent man. And I was wishing that they did more with the character. At least give him some moment to shine. But the most he contributes is almost breaking his fucking ankles when they jump off the roof, and he picks up the ladder. And is able to get everyone off the roof. Yeah. That's like the only thing he contributed to, but it's like you almost broke both of your fucking legs. I just got like a flash to Midsummer when I don't know if you guys know that. I don't know if I want to. Remember when they're just like at a certain age, the people in that community, they jump off. You're talking about the beginning. Yeah. Was that the beginning? I don't know. The very beginning of the movie. Yeah, where you have to jump off the cliff and die. And that guy just broke his legs. And I was just like, why? Oh my God, cold scenes. I didn't even think about that. That's what he looked like. First thing I thought of. That's what Ben looked like in this movie. He looked like a sacrifice. From Midsummer. He wasn't even a good sacrifice either. You missed the mark. You got one job. Because Louise still had to save everybody because Kiara came out with a shotgun, was about to shoot at Ben and the kids, and she did the sneak attack with the hammer. It's like blah. Yep. 2 bodies for Louise, none for zero for Ben. 1 body, that's him. Yeah. Oh my God. Insane. Fucking insane. And then his dumbass, instead of keeping his daughter close to him, once Agnes comes down the ladder, she just goes off. He's like, somewhere. Get to the car, go. And I'm just like... There's people still running around for all you know. Patty's still around somewhere. Stay close to me. No, doesn't do that. So then she ends up getting held at gunpoint or knife point. I don't even remember. I think he has a pistol. Yeah, it was a gun. Yeah, and then this is the point where you mention how this guy, Patty, just looks like a monster. Like, for some reason... In between, he somehow took steroids, and we just didn't notice because the dude, he just looks like a Resident Evil evolved monster. He's got the anime like time skip neck. Like I'm just like, oh. He looks like a monster, and I'm just like, are we really about to lose one of these kids right now? But then I remembered there was a scene earlier where Agnes picked up a syringe with the ketamine because he was going to give that to her so they can sedate her so they could cut out her tongue. Yeah. And so she was able to be more useful than Ben. More useful, more proactive than fucking Ben. An 11-year-old girl was more useful in survival than Ben, a grown-ass man. Mm-hmm. She sticks Patty with the syringe and is able to knock him out. I didn't think it was enough because I was like, he did a dose for her small ass, and I was just like,
Yeah.
is that enough for him? Because he just keep getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I know. I think it was, at least it was enough to paralyze him. Maybe
Yeah.
not knock him out and unconscious.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was just like, God damn, this is fucking embarrassing. Like, damn, go Agnes, but Jesus Christ, like the father just couldn't really get a win at all. And he's over here limping with his broken ankles, and then Ant's over here just taking a brick to this man's face.
I know. The gun goes off when Agnes does stab him, and they all, like, everybody starts scattering, and the gun went off, and I was just like, I know they did not shoot Ant. I really thought they shot him. I know, you were really
worried about that.
Because the camera wasn't on him, and then I think at one point, I think it was Ben, was just like, Ant, come on. And Ant wasn't coming. I was just like, what's going on? Mm-hmm. But Ant was just like, he finally got Patty right where he needs him. He takes one of the bricks, and this poor kid just goes to town on bashing in Patty's head. And it was so annoying because, like, Patty was just like, yeah, that a boy or whatever. And it was just
that's
like,
my boy.
I was just like, no. I was like, fuck you. Like, I was so mad. I mean, I was just like, damn, I was like, someone need a whole Ant. But it was funny because Luis and Ben and then even Agnes, they just stood there like horrified.
Their faces were hilarious. It looked comical.
I was just like, why do you look, I mean, it makes sense. Like, you should have just felt like some like satisfaction and justice for Ant. Like, I wouldn't be looking at him. I would just been like, this is finally over.
I actually buy into that because it's still
it's
disturbing
horrifying to
watch.
see a kid do that. But I'm just like, for me, I'm thinking like, look at what we just went through. Look at what this kid's been through. Like,
yeah,
it only makes sense.
I thought their reaction was fine, although their faces looked a little too funny.
Yeah,
like it felt almost comical the way that their mouths were just like.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
But I was just like, oh, finally, this is over. Patty's dead. Cook restaurant guy's dead, and
everyone's
Kiara's dead. Everyone's dead.
Hopefully, this don't look bad on them when they call the police.
I know, but there's all the stuff that from previous
evidence.
Families is evidence. Yeah, so it's just like, it was. I liked this ending. I thought it was a good ending, but compared to the 22 one where it doesn't go like this for that family, the couple ends up being killed, and the daughter ends up being the new child in their little scheme to.
Yeah, she gets her tongue snipped too. Oh, that was horrifying.
Oh, that was really, really bad. No sedation.
Yeah, she was fully awake for that.
She was fully awake for that, and that was that when they tried to leave. They left. Mm-hmm. They got stranded because
Bjorn's stupid ass went off road instead of just sticking to the road because he thought that he was being chased. Which, you're being followed, but it's like, I don't get how going off-road was going to help you.
I'm like, stay on the road.
If he's trying to ram you out in the main street, at least somebody else who might be on the road would catch that and then maybe help you. But going off-road like that and then costing the life of your family.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I was just like, this guy is a different type of, it's all his fault that his family's in this situation.
Yeah.
Like, he like genuinely like thought that all this was like a good idea. Like, he really... It was that was really frustrating. But he gets them caught in a ditch in the 22 one. He's like, I'm gonna go look for help. There's a house over there this way. Mm-hmm. Leaves his family there. Comes back. They're gone. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, Patrick's like, oh, they called us. We came to help and stuff. They're driving not back to the house, and they're just like, when are we getting back to the house? Stop in the middle of the field. There goes the babysitter, and they're like, let go of Agnes, let go of the little girl. And the mom's just like, no way. The babysitter holds her down, and then they hold down Agnes and they cut out her tongue. Mm-hmm. And then they take the parents and bring them to like this like ditch area.
Yeah.
And they're like, take off all your clothes and walk down there. And then they just, what is it? What did they throw at them? They threw bricks or
they just threw rocks
at them. They threw rocks at them like until they like died.
And
that
was the most ineffective way to kill
them.
Dude, you're taking a long ass time doing this.
I was very curious about like why they did it that way.
It was just so degrading and humiliating.
It really was. And it's weird because like they were like, why are you doing this? And the line that Patrick says in the Danish one, he was just like,
Patrick says, because you let me. And in this version, Patty says, because you let us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
which, I mean, they basically both operate the same way.
They operate the same way, but I don't feel the one.
It was way more impactful in the Danish version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that instantly came to me because I was waiting for that line. Mm-hmm. In the 24 one, and I was just like, when's he gonna say it? He said it, and I was just like, okay. It just didn't feel the same, and I think
it felt kind of forced.
It didn't feel the same because I felt like the wife in this one was just like a little bit more aware, a little bit more pushy, a little bit more vocal about like the things that were bothering her.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because like the husband isn't like very likable either. But in the 22 one, it really felt like, wow, I felt this way the whole time, that why are you guys letting this couple talk to you like this? Like, what is this? Apparent. And they really just allowed it all to happen. And I liked the realization on the couple's face when they were just like, well, fuck, you got us there. Like, that's really what it felt like. Yeah. And I was just like, yeah, how you guys let this happen? Yeah. You did. And I was just like, I can't even be mad at these people who are going to kill you now and who's killed so many people already. I can't even be mad because how do you let this happen? Yeah. Exactly. You had to have let these people do this to you. Yeah. So like that one, I think that's where I did what I liked about the Danish one a lot, was that line and that realization that hit me, because the whole time I knew this. Yeah. But until he said it, I was just like, you're right. Like, it's true. Yeah. Like, fuck. Yeah, that just hit everything perfectly when he uttered that line in the Danish version. Yeah, and then like after that scene where you just see their bodies there, it shows the couple with the Agnes or whatever. She's sitting in the back seat with her little bunny, and they're off to find another family to terrorize, basically. The cycle continues. The cycle just continues. But I thought that was a good ending for that film and how they did that. It was very impactful. Like, that line's gonna just like really fucking haunt me. But the American one was good too. At least Ant survives. Yeah, Ant survives. And Abel Ant. He gets he survives. Well, his family's dead. You said he gets to be with his family. His family. His new family. His new family. Who knows? I don't know. Are they going to adopt him? Or maybe they should. Everybody shared trauma. Yeah. 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 Yeah, because in the original, Abel, he dies by drowning in a pool. Like, that happens off screen. That was like horrifying to watch. Yeah. But both endings were interesting in different ways. Again, I like the ending. I like the bleaker ending more, not because I'm morbid, but I just feel like it hit the theme a lot harder, and it just brought everything home for what that movie was doing. Whereas this one, I was like, I'm satisfied that everybody makes it out, but it's also very kind of standard and kind of generic a bit. Yeah. But doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just, it's a little less thought-provoking for me. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I feel like if I didn't watch the Danish one, I would be fine with this ending. I wouldn't question it. I wouldn't think about anything else. And then I'm wondering if the American one never came out, I would also be satisfied with this. I think having watched the Danish one and seeing how bleak it is, like having the American one to follow like a couple years later and watching it, it feels like an alternate ending for me. Like that I would like, the director's cut. Yeah, something like that. So I really enjoyed them both. Yeah. I do appreciate the Danish one for the bleak ending and how, because it only makes sense. And it really feels like it's trying to say something, and it is a lesson. Whereas this one's just like, if you just, I don't know. It felt more like a thriller than it was actually trying to do social commentary. Yeah. I mean, it does still do a bit of that, but I don't think it's as laser focused and as in depth. There's a consequence. Yeah. There's a consequence in the Danish one, which like they follow through with. And this one, like, there's still trauma, and this is like a really fucked up situation, but they make it out. Yeah. And they stop these people. All right, so should we get into gradings? Oh, okay, this is hard. I honestly feel like I would want to give them both a loaded potato, but I feel like the more we discussed, just be your true honest selves, as Patty keeps asking. See, honesty. We want honesty. I hate him so much. James McAvoy's a gem. Oh my god. No, I want to give them both a loaded potato, but after discussing, them both, I feel like I would give the Danish one a loaded potato, and I would give the American one a baked potato. Okay. It's still really good. It's like so close to being a loaded potato, but I just, for some reason, the first one just hit different, and maybe it is because of the bleak ending. Hit different, yeah. But I feel like it really, having that bleak ended is what made me feel like, okay, like Not everything has to have a happy ending, or tie up everything, and you don't always get to win. Not everybody gets out safe.
Yeah, it operates as a very bleak cautionary tale.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually going to surprise myself here and give both of these movies a baked potato.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Danish one is probably like a stronger one, closer to loaded potato, and this one's just slightly bit lighter for the American version. Because I also had like equal parts love for the Danish one and equal parts like some frustrations here and there that kept it from like being like a loaded potato, like a 4 out of 5 on that scale. So I think both these movies are on that baked potato scale, just at different ranges. I would hold the Danish one a little higher.
Yeah.
Because I just love the way that movie was filmed, like the quietness, the eeriness, the camera work, the way that, the characters are utilized here. And then the theme just felt so focused. The fact that there's themes of like, masculinity and the consequences of not knowing where you stand as an individual and letting others dictate how you think you should behave. And then also just not letting other people push your boundaries and being able to advocate for yourself. I felt like those themes were like more like laser focused, whereas here is like it's there, but I didn't feel like the main focus because it was more trying to be like this humorous thriller.
Yeah.
Which I appreciated. I thought that was a fun time too. So I enjoyed both movies, just not in equal ways, but they get the same rating. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it does. You explained it.
So yeah, so they both get a nice strong baked potato for sure.
Okay. Well, question. Would you recommend that someone watch them both and then which
hell yeah.
order?
Hell yeah. Watch them both. I would say, I think it depends on what you're used to. If you're more used to an American-based sort of writing style and filming style, I would say start with the 2024, the newer one. But I also feel like the Danish one does fit a lot of typical like Hollywood conventions because again they use the English language, characters do some stupid ass decisions that you really don't believe they would actually do, so they still utilize some Hollywood elements, but it is darker, it is quieter, it is more contemplative. So if you're not interested in movies like that, I would say use this new movie as your gateway and then go to the Danish one and see how the original played out. And that maybe that might be something that you like, and if not, then you at least know what works for you and what doesn't.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, try them both. Like I, it's hard for me to say which order to really do it from. Just go based on what you're interested in, and then go to like the one that you're least comfortable with. So, either way, I recommend watching them both. They're both a decent time for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what 2 baked potatoes from me, and then a baked potato and a loaded potato from you.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Any other final thoughts? Any more complaints about Ben before we go?
What a bitch.
I think that's what kept it from a loaded potato. I was like, you could have used this whole movie.
See, look at Ben fucking up shit even. Like, just damn.
Ben keeping me from closing this damn episode. It would have been great if this was used as like a couples therapy moment where they learn to become a functioning couple through this ordeal. And it just doesn't happen. I just feel like at this point, Louise is going to fucking divorce him off screen with how useless he's been.
He really cried. I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do.
I was just like, everybody
busted
wife, out
she's
laughing.
Got a shotgun.
Yes. Everyone was just really laughing at that because I was just like, is this comical. Guy serious?
Why are you here?
Why are you here?
Anyways, guys, those are all our thoughts on Speak No Evil, the 2024 new version and the 2022 version. Let us know if you've watched either one of these. Let us know in the comments how you felt about this new movie. Which one did you like more? Are you terrified of James McAvoy as much as we are? Do you want to see James McAvoy come back as Charles Xavier but on steroids? I think that'd be very fun.
Yuck.
Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and make sure to, not abduct anybody in our name. We don't need
Don't
that.
let people tell you what to do. Don't let yourself get gaslit. Don't let people tell you what to do.
And be a man. Be a man. Not a toxic man, but be a useful fucking man.
That goes for everybody.
Protect your wife.
Protect your family. Just, God, he sucks so much.
Ben sucks.
Thank
you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.